Kia ora Sue. Tēnā koutou, ngā mihi nui ki te haukainga. I'll just skip that. Okay, so why did we end up in court? As Sue said, the Hawke's Bay Regional Council Plan Change 5 was changes to the regional policy statement, and a lot of those changes we didn't agree with, and we submitted on those changes. And we didn't get anything in the hearings. And at the same time, we were going to court on the Tuki Catchment Plan, which Karina was just talking about. Yes, it was all happening concurrently, and that's the Ruataniwha Dam Tuki Catchment Plan, and we went to mediation. So what couldn't we get over? What was our bottom line was the degradation, the objective. No. Regional Council proposed to remove the objective of no degradation from the groundwater policy statement, or no degradation of groundwater from the policy statement, and replace it with groundwater quality suitable for human consumption. So why did they do that? Part of the rationale was the implementation of the National Policy Statement on Freshwater Management. I think it was about 2012 when they notified the change. And of course, the 2014 policy statement was pretty similar. Apologies if I've dumbed it down and it's too simplistic and not enough detail. Karina, you have my number and you can call me later if you want more detail. So objective A2 from the National Policy Statement has a wording, overall quality of freshwater and aka overs and unders approach as the terminology that comes out through the MFE guidelines on implementing the National Policy Statement. What was the real reason? Perhaps, despite. So what are we talking about in terms of our waterways? Karina showed you a picture already of the Ruataniwha catchment, which is the one at the bottom, and the Hiratonga Plains Aquifer catchment there. It's quite a significant water body, obviously culturally, economically, socially. Hawke's Bay Hastings is known as the fruit bowl wine country, and that all comes off the back of, or much of it comes off the back of our groundwater quality extensive resource. Ruataniwha is also important, very productive basin, and 60% of it comes from the groundwater. And in terms of numbers, what does it mean? What was the change? Suitable for human consumption basically means the New Zealand drinking water standard. We went over this in quite some detail through the court process, and the number that spits out is 11.3 milligrams per litre of nitrogen. While in the Hiratonga aquifer, most of the readings are below 1 milligram per litre of nitrogen. And here's a diagram of the catchment and some of the readings from the monitoring sites. And if you can see, there's only one site that's over 5.65, and that site is located next to a dump that they decided to build on top of a very the recharge zone from the Ngarirora River into the aquifer. It's one of the worst spots you could have put a dump. What does it look like nationally? I've put a timer on it so I don't get told off by Sue. So it's happening automatically. What does the nitrates in the water look like nationally? And 80% are less than 5.65. And you can see where Hawke's Bay is, and Kahungunu is pretty good, except for Waitarapa. So we didn't tolerate that. It was going from below 1 milligram to 11.4. That's a big change, and they're using the overall interpretation of the National Policy Statement to justify that. So Environment Court, overall quality and all the unders and overs concept. The judge said interpretation of overall quality was fundamentally flawed, not workable. Basically, it comes down to an accounting exercise, and how would you swap the quality of water in one water body with that in another, or indeed with an aquifer with a totally different water body. Could allow for further degradation, and also we saw no evidence of any other waterways being improved significantly enough. So the approach, as the court said, was a working down rather than up. And the maintain and enhance function is not optional. It's inconsistent with Section 30 of the RMA and Section 69, rules relating to water. And the judge also said there's probably issues with Section 107, restrictions on discharge. There were quite a few parts of the RMA where the judge said there were issues. I haven't listed them all. The Section 32 report was poor, also, the court said. Other arguments, the objective wording, the council said it was too absolute and impossible to achieve. Environment Court basically said, well, an objective is a goal or an aim, and they agreed that's exactly what we thought. We thought that was actually less ambiguous. Due to the load to come, we can do nothing. The court basically said that was illogical, so I think he used the example of cyclone bowlers coming next week, so let's do nothing about it. Yeah, he thought that premise was just totally illogical, and you actually should plan for it. But absolute objective by the council, they thought they couldn't plan for the load to come. It was bad planning. Although the words maintain or enhance have been used by most other councils in the country, and I had a little table with evidence, and also the case that Karina was involved in for Horizons, they had interpreted the national policy statement, and the similar thinking was there, although our regional council thought they were trailblazers in implementing the national policy statement, and everyone else should follow suit. They also said that this is a high-level document, the regional policy statement, which of course it is, and in the regional plans, if we wanted to basically protect the aquifer, we could do it in that. Was there something else in there? Oh. Yeah, and just referring back, if the regional policy statement is inadequate, it was likely that the plan provisions suffer the same deficiencies, is another comment by the judge. Relationship of Māori to water. When we took this case, was of the firm opinion that it was in the policy framework that our argument stood that it would have the most gains, even though obviously we're an iwi authority and connected to our hapu and tangata whenua, we haven't seen much success in the court. Although we did have success also in this area, and just some of the points we raised, evidence on our cultural, spiritual and historic connections. Sorry, my timer. And Ngāti Kahungunu also had a Waitangi claim, Y595, and that's around the Hiratonga aquifer. Like I said before, it's quite a significant aquifer, and it has been for 1,000 years, and quite a few marae and settlements have been built up around it. It was originally a swamp and very close to Napier, and they had a big lagoon there, so heaps of resources. And aquifer is the womb of Papatuanuku and reproductive capacity, which I'll talk about in the next slide. So the judge said in regards to Section 6C, recognising and providing for our relationship with Māori, their culture and traditions, with their ancestral waters, cannot possibly be achieved, and failing to even aspire to maintain, let alone improve the quality of water in these aquifers. And also the Regional Council didn't put up any evidence in opposition, so they thought that was quite significant. So in giving our evidence, we had 2 cultural experts and a planner. None of them had degrees or any qualifications. And I've always found it difficult going through the Tuki board of inquiry process. I found it difficult with Māori relaying their evidence because it's written and they only get the chance to answer questions. They don't get the full, I guess, leeway to use their oratory skills, which are highly valued, significant for Māori. So, going all over the place. So I thought for our chairperson, who did produce evidence, but I knew it wasn't up to his standard, or it didn't have everything that's on his mind, that he's quite a good orator. And so I used one of his PowerPoints, and this is just one slide of that from Pine Pine Te Kura, which is ori ori, or a lullaby, gosh, I don't know the English word, more a chant. And it's very significant to kahununu, and in it, it speaks of the reproductive cycle, and that was the emphasis of Ngāhiwi, that the womb, or the aquifer in Papatūānuku on the earth, is part of the reproductive cycle of water in the whenua, and it links to the reproductive cycle of the womb, and those connections there. And obviously he was a lot better at explaining it than me. The implications, so basically gone through those arguments, and any of those arguments just don't stack up anymore, because they were comprehensively covered by the Environment Court's verdict. We went into great detail. I think it's basically a great outcome for water quality. And like I said, those arguments are basically redundant. And National Policy Statement needs reassessment on the word overall. The PCE, Parliamentary Commissioner for the Environment, recommended just recently that removing the word overall. And I'm pretty sure she recommended that in her submission prior to the National Policy Statement coming into effect. And some councils may have to reconsider their approach as well. And I have it on good authority that Sustainable Matata Incorporated versus Bay of Plenty used this case successfully. And basically, it also encourages positive objectives and policies that work up, not down. BGA spanner is the Business Growth Agenda spanner. MFE guidelines, they need revisited because the overs and unders didn't work, and probably likely to change the National Policy State and RMA reforms, so for this to not happen again. So keeping on watching a brief on that. But importantly, maintaining and enhancing water quality is the standard, like it should be. And just like to acknowledge, like I said, our team, Ngāhiwi Tamona, who's our chair, provided evidence, and Mare Apatu, and Maury Black, who I call a biologist. He's got over 20 years of experience in Hawke's Bay. He hasn't got a qualification, but for me, he's the foremost authority on resource management matters for Māori, and we use him extensively. His outfit, their Māori Protection Agency. I'd also like to really thank other organisations and individuals like Environmental Defence Society, not just because they invited me here, but because them, Fish and Game and Forest and Bird, came to the rohe of kahununu and basically fought a good fight on the tuki-tuki. And we relied heavily upon them, so thank you very much. I think I've told you before, but not in a public setting. And also because I got to watch them and do their work, really, and that was pretty much my only experience. I hadn't been to Environment Court before, so I learnt a lot from how they conducted themselves and reading the evidence and the experts. And also I've had a lot of help from other people. I'm fortunate that people let me pick their brain and ask lots of questions. So hopefully if I can meet some of you, I'm looking for a hydrologist. But yeah, Catalyst Group, Perception Planning, there are a whole lot of people. I'd like to acknowledge Jenny Baker. There's a lot of individuals and community groups also that fight, the good fight basically with not a lot of money, and it's very difficult for them to partake in these processes. So, kia ora tātou.